welcome. Now, up on lead vocals.
Fuck. Okay. So Ashley,
it's recording.
It's recording.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm ready.
We're leading a retreat
We're leading a retreat
together.
Facilitating.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the retreat?
Yeah. Why don't you go first?
Why don't we talk about why we're excited about the retreat?
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Well, for me, co-creating with somebody, you get this essence of that other person. So for me, I've hosted retreats for years, and it's just me. And hosting with somebody else, there's like this added energy. And so I'm excited because I feel the momentum from another. I feel the inspiration from another. I feel what this other is adding to the retreat. And so I'm excited to do it with another person. It's like double trouble.
I really like that you use the word inspiration, because as yoga instructors, or as people who, I don't know, run their own business and lead people or guide people through experiences like this, I get so much inspiration from going to other places or going to classes, but it's always kind of beforehand. And of course, you're inspired by the people who come, and it's going to be cool to be inspired by each other just as we're moving in it in like real time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going with a plan, but who knows what's going to happen that's not according to plan.
Yeah. And that's like the magic for me is, we can plan a trip, we can plan a retreat, and when you leave space for the not planning, the unexpected, like for me, that's where the magic is at. Like that's where the juice is at, is when you don't like concrete, make it rigid, but give it space to breathe. Like we're giving the retreat space to breathe. And speaking of breath, the retreat property is like, it's so remarkable. Like it's unlike a retreat that I've ever hosted at. And it looks like it has its own environment. It has its own ecosystem. It's like a little pocket of something other than just what we know as Montana.
Right. So for people who don't know where we're leading this retreat, you talked to Lindy, you set up the space. What's this space?
This space is very plant teaching orchestrated. So the whole emphasis of like intention of her property was to create a space for people to be healed from the earth. So she's planted a whole garden, and her soil is known in the state of Montana to be some of the most rich, nourishing place to plant plants. So it's like it's so nutrient dense, and she wants people to come to her land to be healed by the earth. So we'll be learning about plants. We'll be learning about soil. That's not like the sole focus of our retreat.
But it's an herb farm.
But it's an herb farm. Like it's a medicinal herb farm
Yeah.
where they grow native Montana herbs like yarrow and calendula, and they offer workshops on what these herbs can do for our lives, our body, our health. Yeah.
And what I love about it, I mean, when I think farm, especially here in Bozeman, I think kind of wide open field in a way. This farm is not that.
No.
We're like nestled in the trees and in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that will be really cool.
So I want to know, Nico, what the title of the retreat means to you.
I mean, you came up with the title, but but I loved Wild. Wild, I think, came from just that feeling of where we are, Montana. And also because I've been reading for, I don't know, 10 years now, rereading Women Who Run with the Wolves, and it's all about getting to your wildish self, that like true womanhood nature. And that's how I feel when I'm with you.
Yes.
I feel
Yes.
like there's no boundaries, there's no restrictions on
Mm.
who I am or who I'm just showing up as, and I can just be there and be wild and be weird and be fun and laugh, but also cry and get to the core of life. And that's just so feminine to me. And so wild women is who you inspire me to be, and who I feel like I am when we're together. And it reminds me of starting our little garden plot together. We're just like digging in the dirt and laughing, and also just putting so much intention into what we're growing. And now we're growing this together, which is so cool.
Yeah. So a little backstory on this garden plot, because I feel like it really shows who you and I are. So we had this community garden space, and we would meet there, and I could see Nico using logic a little bit. Like, this is where we're going to plant the things. We're going to take these steps. And my mind goes to like, I'm going to pray to the ground. There's like this, but there's like this balance a little bit of, there is like the practicalities and the logistics. And then there is like the weirdness and the primalness. There's the like knowing how to move your body. And there's also like the ceremonial piece, which I feel like is the retreat. There is structure, but there is like the breaking the boundaries. And I feel like that's what our garden plot was like, there was structure, but I was definitely like,
I was like, we have to know what grows next to each other. And you're like, I'm just going to ask the dirt.
I know. And it worked.
It worked.
It worked.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see how this is going to work.
Wait, hold on. This is so good. I have to make sure I'm recording. Okay, yeah, we're good. I got nervous. I was like, I've never done this.
Me either.
Okay, I want to talk about back to like where we are in the herb farm, because you have been on this herbalism journey, and honestly, I don't really even know that much about it. So why does that feel like really relevant to where you're at right now in this?
Well, the first thing I want to say is you don't have to know anything about herbs to come to this retreat, or need to know anything about herbs to start your journey. And for me, the plant path is such a big part of my path, because I do feel like I have just such a primal relationship with plants and how it's healed my own body. Like, physically seeing plants change how my body runs, my digestion, and so for me, this retreat space offers such a container of where I'm at. Like, the plants are forward. This retreat is a little plant forward, but not plant focused. So I'm just really excited to be immersed with a structure that's established in plants, and to introduce people more into native Montana plants. Like, you'll get to see what plants grow in Montana and how to use them. And it'll be neat to help the women like identify what plants are growing in their backyard, and translating this knowledge into their everyday life. So it's perfect timing, and it also doesn't have to be complex. Like, the name of the retreat, Simply Wild, simply is in there because the plants can get complex, but we can also keep it really simple. And we can keep this retreat complex, but it also is going to be simple.
Right, because becoming wild, or getting in touch rather with the wild, isn't hard. Like, it's not work. It's more of an uncovering and unburying, like getting to the root. And I think that's one thing that society, we think so much, and before now it's been like, okay, what more can we do? What more can we add? What can we
Mm-hmm.
add into our lives to make it better, more successful, and more fruitful? And it's like, no, like, let's just go look for the plants in and around us and
Yeah.
uncover more of doing less in order to find that wild.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the herbs are a great expression of that because they are simple. You put a seed in the dirt, you watch it grow, you harvest it, you drink tea out of it. That's like a simple practice.
So speaking of tea,
yeah. So something that I'm offering in this retreat that is really special is I'm going to be harvesting Montana wild rose in the end of June. And I'm going to be doing a whole process of preserving it to then offer a rose communion in our retreat. So daily we will be sitting in a ceremonial space with rose tea. And rose tea, again, it's native to Montana. It's called the Montana wild rose, is really great for the heat of the summer because it cools the body naturally down. So it's really, really awesome to have it at the end of July, beginning of August when we have the retreat, because it'll naturally cool our body down. But in esoteric realms, it helps us connect deeper to our sensuality and helps us implement boundaries that we need in our life. So it's this really beautiful play of learning how to get gentle with ourselves, to get into that primal essence, like the rose, like there's that soft, tender petals, and there's like the structure of the stem and the thorns where you learn how to hold both, learn how to be gentle and tender, but also learn to have strong, sturdy boundaries.
Lou, if you knock over the phone, I'm going to be mad.
So it's this really awesome offering to introduce a plant to your life.
Yeah.
In a ceremonial way, but it's also simple. Like it grows everywhere here in Montana. And so I will teach and instruct the process of how to harvest a plant and how to make your own rose tea and sit with your own rose tea. Yeah.
Last fall, we went on a run.
Yes.
And we got out of the car and you immediately were picking rose hips.
Yeah.
And I had never even looked around for the rose hips. And I have to tell you, the rest of the fall, I was picking rose hips. And I was taking Lou on runs, and it was the best. It was like, I don't even care where I get to. All I care is that I'm on this run and I'm picking my rose hips. And I'm going to make some really yummy syrup with them after, and it's gonna be sweet, and I love sweet, but it's also gonna be nourishing, and yeah, so thank you for that gift. Last year.
It's so fun to be able to make your own quote medicine too. Like rose hips are full of vitamin C, and honey is also its own medicinal qualities, so it's simple too, like, and that's what I feel like the structure of this retreat is. It's going to be informative of how to nourish yourself and to take those practices home. Yeah.
So what else are you excited about in the retreat?
I'm excited to gather women in Montana. It's been like years of planting the seeds of hosting a retreat in Montana, and it'll kind of bring me to tears that it hasn't happened yet, and now it's happening. So there's such a momentum and a power that's coming behind it all, of like, it's time. So I'm excited because it's time. It's time to bring women together in the mountains and do what I love to do, which is hold such a safe, strong container for women to be vulnerable, to be weird, to strip away the distractions, to be with themselves and to be
connect with others. Yeah, in that stripped state, not in a bad meaning of the word stripped, but like a really bare, raw, essence,
Mm-hmm.
is so much different. It's like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes connecting with people, and I'm saying this as an introvert, can be so exhausting when it's coming from this surface person of who I think I should be or who I'm presenting myself as. And to connect in a way that you're talking about is just so actually brightening and enlightening, and gives so much energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do want to speak on that piece of the introvert coming in, because that can be terrifying. It can be also terrifying me talking about like getting to our core and that quote wild, like that can be intimidating. That can be, it can bring up a lot. And so that's why I love to preface that I hold the safe space. Like there's no pressure for you to act anyway. If you don't act weird at all, like that's your weird too.
Right.
And so I also love to encourage people to to trust themselves if they feel the call to come to this. And if there is that edge of like I'm too scared, or there's like this fear that comes up, like I'm here to hold it too with you. Like I'm here to help you get there if you want to come, and to hold a safe space.
Which is another beauty of having the both of us there, and we connect so deeply. We are very different people.
So different.
But I think we hold a safe space as well, and together it's not like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but more like between the two of us holding that safe space, hopefully everyone is able to find that safety and that compassion and that kindness within, between the two of us, and between the people who are going to be attracted to something like this, are also going to hold that type of open, like, compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Nico, I am curious how you're going to show up to invite a space of wildness for people.
Yeah. Yeah, my wildness recently, especially, well, no, my whole life has been through movement. I'm a very active person. I love running. I love skiing, and this pulls out that wild side of me, of that childish play. And same with yoga, and that's why I was drawn to yoga to begin with, was the movement aspect. That's how my body likes to release and find that wild side. But also through dance, and I grew up. You're like, that's where I was getting to. I grew up as a dancer my whole life, but it's always been so structured, very jazz, ballet, tap, hip hop rules. And what I'm excited about is guiding people through movement that it has no structure. And obviously there's guidance that has to be done there, but allowing ourselves to kind of feel that movement in a way that comes from intuition. Hold on. Can you sit? Okay. We got cut off by the doodle. What is a Lucille? English bulldog?
Oh. Primal. Talk about primal.
Talking about primal.
Territories.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to offer. I mean, yes, we will do yoga, but also move in a way that's just open and free. And I love that you use the word sensuality in here, because there's going to be digging into sensuality, and knowing that there's no restrictions on that. Like, you can move your body in a way without judgment, without feeling like someone's watching you, in a way that feels good. And there's nothing except dance that just makes me feel so tied in and so open and so energetically freed. Yeah.
I love that. That's great. I mean, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I am. Yeah, there's something about dance that, like, for me, I've just had such experiences in dance that are so primal and that are so freeing. And also noticing in dance, like, where I am rigid. And so whenever I show up in dance, I get to like work with my body in like a somatic way to like unwind from my own boundaries, from the way that I think that I have to move. And like my dancing's weird. Like I dance weird because I like that's what my body is like, how I get this the stickiness constriction out of my body.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to dance, and I'm excited to dance by the fire.
Mm.
Definitely excited to dance by the fire.
Yes. Yes.
If it's like an actual fire that we have, or if it's like the heat of the summer fire, like just like burning away the layers to get to my essence.
Yes, that
And,
Agni.
and
Yeah.
and to witness other women in that too. It's what lights me up. Like it lights me up hosting these, or like just facilitating, creating them to offer a space for women to come into that. Yeah. What does the word retreat like really offer you?
That's a good question. I love retreats because there's no distraction. And in the world of yoga philosophy, kind of the goal is to be able to pull in these aspects of mindfulness in everyday life. And sometimes, especially nowadays, there's so much going on in the world. I myself can't even pull myself away from the news feed on the phone, that whether that's literal news of what's happening in the world or just what's going on in other people's lives. And it's really hard to get down into that center, that essence, when you're just being clouded and covered with layers of expectations and judgments and shoulds. So a retreat to me is this ability to step away from all of that in order to kind of go a little bit deeper. And hopefully we're able to offer some tools and guidance so that it doesn't just stay in retreat. Yeah, I want to ask you the same question because it was so good.
Your answer, like, yeah, I have goosebumps and like in tears because, yeah, it's for me, it can be so hard to drop into retreat space because of life and distractions. Like that word distractions just like really hitting me right now of how I distract myself. And to offer up a place for women to come just set the distractions down for a few days is massive. Like it's just big and it's hard to get there. So to create that space is, yeah, it's healing, it's powerful, it's special. And for me, retreat.
And with that kind of, what's for you, the difference between just going out on your own, getting into that wildish nature of going on a run or camping on your own or with a partner versus retreat, versus gathering and being guided?
So good. For me, coming into retreat, there's no like quotes coincidence. Like there's a reason why these women have come together, and it's like it's such a personable journey to come to retreat, but also it's like bigger than us. It's bigger than just this pod of women. Like there's something happening on such a macro scale. Like for me, what's coming up is like sisterhood and like kind of healing that wound with sisterhood too, of like competition and judgment. And so there's just something bigger than just coming on a retreat. Like I can feel that. I can feel that with this group. And yeah, I can feel like the nourishment of what this is going to bring for us. And like I need the women. Like I need the women to come together because we need to do it as a tribe. Like I just have that mentality, like yes, we are here to walk in our own intuitive path, and we don't have to do it alone. Like we can have women to help mirror us of who we want to be, or like where we still have wounding. And oh, I really love how she's moving her body, maybe I can give it a try. It's like there's this like there's power in numbers. And so yeah, that's why I love to do it in a group. And it's like women show me what I need. And sometimes there's blind spots when I'm alone.
Totally.
So, and then doing it with the land, like doing it in this container, it's like the land is also showing us what we need and helping us ground it all and giving it to the land. And so, yeah, there's just this primal tribe mentality of bringing women together too.
Feels really relevant just right now, especially. Yeah.
And like it's gonna be really natural too.
Mhm.
Like we're gonna be in Whitefish, Montana, where there's just mountains and clear air, and it's really grounded there. Like it feels just really saturated in the natural world, and it's just another opportunity to go into the natural world, you know, to disconnect from social media, to disconnect from our lives, and just like be with the water, be with the dirt, be with the mountains. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what it brings up for all of us. Yeah.
The water.
The water.
I'm excited to take some lake swims and dips and play. I think that's one word I'd like to highlight in all of this is play.
Yeah.
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 I recently went to this movement workshop, and it's kind of like an acting, like let's just get out of our comfort zone kind of thing. And I forgot, I was like, I'm not that old, but adults can play too.
Yes.
And it's so fun.
Yeah.
And so freeing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're so, yeah.
Yeah, for me, when I like get to that like essence of play, there aren't boundaries. You know, it's like that's where my creativity kind of comes out, and that's like where Ashley comes out, is like when I get to that playful and wild human core. Yeah.
Okay, a little bit of logistic kind of stuff. Food. We love food.
We love food.
And I'm gonna have you talk about this because you also talked to the caterer.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a couple meals homemade by Ashley and I, and I'm not gonna talk myself up on being a good cook, but I will talk you up on being a good cook. You spend a lot of time in the kitchen, and everything you make for me feels so full of love, and I can just feel being held by Ashley when I drink your tea or eat your food or drink your bone broth. Will you talk a little bit about your personal way of making food and about the caterer as well?
Yes. Love food. For me, the whole food has been such a journey too, of like healing my relationship with food and knowing that food is here to nourish me and to ground me. And I also see food a little bit as medicinally, not that food is medicine, but there is like food is medicine. So I love to craft meals specifically for the person, of like what they need and like what the season is like and what's locally around. And so a lot of the meals that I will be preparing are based in nourishment and grounding and anything local. Herbs will be added to it, which I love adding the fresh herbs to my plates. And then as far as the caterer goes, she also is really inspired by staying as local as possible and also nourished. So she doesn't want us to leave a meal feeling empty. It's because we will be moving, we will be hiking, we will be dancing, we will be in the garden.
Yeah, you said food as medicine, and I always think food is fuel. Like we don't want to be putting stuff in our body that's gonna put us in the ground. we want to put stuff in our body so that we can go be in the mountains.
It's energy. It'll be energy. Like there will be like, especially this woman that's catering, you can hear it in her voice of how she's selective about the food to making sure it has vitality. If the food has vitality, we have vitality. So that is like what the food is going to be about. It's like giving us vitality, giving us nourishment, giving us like whole complex foods. Yes. So hopefully you won't go hungry.
We will not
We will
go
not go
hungry.
hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can guarantee with you and I, there will be enough food, nourishing food.
Yeah.
Which is another, we almost named the retreat Nourish,
Mhm.
because that's how we and want everyone to feel throughout retreat, after retreat.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what was coming up when you said nourish too is like the invitation for women of, you know, a wide variety of age to come to this retreat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not just the youth coming to get nourished, not just, you know, the yogi coming to get your nourished. Like, this is an invitation for mothers to come get nourished, you know, for elders to come get nourished. Yeah.
And we hope, yeah,
we
that's
hope
the
that.
part of the beauty of retreat is so many different people from different walks of life coming together, because going back to what retreat means is like, I am in a bubble. I am. We live in Bozeman. We're in a bubble. Everyone that I see and talk to and spend time around is often we're in the yoga studio that we teach at. And I love that. I love my people so much. And when you get to retreat, you get a step outside of your bubble. You get to talk to people that you may never run into unless, and there's so much beauty and so much growth and learning to do with people from different walks of life.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I had a thread, it just disappeared. Okay.
What other logistics are we talking about? We will have some sort of herbal workshop.
Yeah.
We will have cacao.
We'll have cacao. We'll have meals. We'll be hiking. There will be yoga.
There will be yoga.
We joked of like, maybe we won't even do yoga, and there'll be like at least probably 2 practices a day.
And talking about yoga is, I love movement and I teach different types of classes, but what I'm really excited to teach is that kind of like primal embodied movement of incorporating dance and ecstatic dance kind of energy, guided almost. And then also this side of yoga that many of us don't think of as in the West as yoga is like breath work and meditation and that cleansing and that preparation. You know, hatha yoga that incorporates a lot of breath work and movement is really just to prepare our body to connect to the divine. And, you know, the divine can also be thought of as what we're talking about as core and that connection with others. So I'm really excited to teach not just movement, but like more of what yoga, you know, really is, and that connection to divine.
I love that. That word divine is making me think of like the rose. I see a rose, I'm like, wow, that's perfection.
Yeah.
Like, that's divinity right there. Yeah, that's sensuality. And when I also hear divine, it's like all of us being the rose. You know, we all have that divinity. And that's like, for me, again, a focus of this retreat is to offer you a space to get to the core of your divinity. Like, get to the core of that essence of who you are in nature with other women, and hopefully anchor it more. Like, hopefully like embody it more so you can go home and still be in that divinity. Practicalities. Well, there's options. I mean, you can go on the website and you'll see our link here, and you'll see this really funky retreat place that we're staying in. The retreat property, like the house is just shaped funky, and there is options for a solo room or shared room. And what I do want to say about that piece is like, it is just a place for us to sleep.
Yeah.
And we will be spending a lot of time outside and outside of the retreat proper or space house.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you thinking right now?
That's all I have to say right now.
Yeah.
I think, you know, there's only so much we can say because we have these intentions and these seeds, but who knows what they're going to grow into. I'm personally so excited to spend the week out there with you and the people that show up. So
me too.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see who comes. I'm excited to be in the mountains and excited to get weird. Excited to get wild, simply wild.
Yeah, I was gonna say like some words. You know, what are maybe we end with like some words that are coming to us through this, and yeah, wild definitely being one of them. Weird being one of them. Toilet flush behind us. You probably couldn't hear that.
Core keeps coming up for me too. Core.
Nourish.
Yeah, grounded. Plant teachers. Yeah. Sisterhood.
Sisterhood, that's a great one. Glow. I'm like just looking at you right now. I'm just like, you know, we use that word so much, but you do feel that energy, that glow of people that feel all these things, the wild, the weird, the wisdom, the nature.
Yeah, I mean, there is a glow to it all too. Like, I think retreat space, like this retreat is especially, like, I can feel it. And when I say I can feel it, it is because I've spent time slowing down to feel the subtleties of what is going to be there. You know, it's like, what is the essence of it? And so also want to offer that to our retreat, like a place to slow down for you to feel your divinity, to feel the quote vibration of the earth, to feel a sister. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And also, today's the equinox. This was not planned.
Yes.
Not planned to launch, invite, to announce this offering.
But the seeds of intention, they're being planted right as we're speaking. Yeah. And it is snowing outside, but so it's fun to plan something in the sunshine as it's snowing. Yeah. That's great.
Well, yeah, I look forward to seeing who shows up.
Yeah. If that's you.
If that's you.
We'll just put the link in the...
Yeah. It was fun to do a live chat about it. And yeah, I hope we, can offer a little bit of who we are into this. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, Ash.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
Thanks for joining us, Alu.
I love you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.